And now it's time for a very special story-oriented segment. We're talking today about Will Wilder 3, The Amulet of Power. It's my latest book in the Will Wilder series, coming out from Random House Crown on February 19th. Now, I'm going to do something I rarely do on the show. I'm handing the microphone off to the esteemed middle grade author. He's done much more than that. He's also a filmmaker, N.D. Wilson, who agreed to interview me about this third Will Wilder book. Here's a bit of our conversation. Watch.
Will Wilder.
Yes.
And the Amulet of Power. So this new book focuses on strength.
It does.
Strength as a theme.
Yeah.
And if stories are soul food, as I would say that they are,
Yeah.
what are you trying to give your readers? Like, what kind of edification do you want them to take from this adventure?
You know this. You start to tell a story, and this one I started 2 books ago, and then the story reveals itself as you're writing it. At least that's what happened here. I knew I spent a lot of time figuring out, okay, what's going to be the primary relic, the secondary relic, you know, and the demon in each book. All of that I take a lot of time figuring out. I do a lot of heavy research, as you know, and that's all the boring part. But
fun for us, boring for everybody else.
Boring for everybody else, including you people watching. But the Amulet of Power is the locks of Samson, which even as a kid I always thought, if there's one thing every boy wants, it's super strength, super power, right?
Yeah.
And here I have wispy, poor little Will Wilder, who can't make it onto the middle grade football team at Perilous Falls.
Perilous Falls Middle.
He's trying. He wants to be in the football team so badly, and he snatches the amulet. He claims not to want to use it for football, but he really ends up using it to get on the football team. And he likes the adulation, he likes the attention. And we see in Will a shadow of Samson. So it's a way of kind of, because I think, having read your series, I think you'd agree with me. History doesn't repeat itself, but it has the same rhythm. You hear the same rhythm through time. And I've always loved stories where something of the past ripples into the future. And we learn the same lesson slightly turned on its ear. And that's what happens to Will. He learns true strength, where true power comes from, and it's not from the amulet. And I think using
Is it
strength,
from believing in his dreams?
No, it's not from believing in his dreams, because his dream was to be on the football team. It's about serving something bigger than himself. And I think he ultimately realizes, I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but the family that has sustained him all along, and his friends, and the love they have for each other, end up being the thing that's truly powerful, and more powerful than any amulet. That's what I think he comes to. But the way he gets there is fun and exciting and dangerous and mysterious, and there are lots of subplots, and these other characters just started talking to me as I wrote this. And you know what happens when you get into the head of these characters. They are as real as the people around you. And I live with them every day. You carry them with you every day. And
they're the imaginary friends you talk to.
They are. Did you have an imaginary friend when you were growing up?
Not until I started writing novels.
Oh, you see, I did have an imaginary friend. I won't tell you his name, but I did. I would ring, in the old houses in the 70s, they used to have these little phone jacks, and they had a little dot on them, and it looked like a bell. So I'd press the bell, and my imaginary friend would come out. Well, now I carry my whole binder of imaginary friends, and I write about them all the time. So Will Wilder is top of the heap.
You kind of answered this a little bit, but just to make you jump up and down on it.
Okay.
Or to give you the opportunity to. Yeah. Our culture today kind of goes after strength in boys.
Yeah.
Like punishes boys for even wanting to be strong, for trying to be strong. Will Wilder in this story is trying to be strong.
He is.
Pair that with the other theme that every single movie for kids that preaches is believe in yourself.
Right.
Believe in yourself, believe in yourself, believe in yourself. Those two things are kind of like the two themes discussed in this book.
They are, but the end is very different. The end is very, and I would say, you know, again, I
don't ruin it for me.
I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to give out any spoilers, but I do want to. I've always loved stories that are true to the character, and I try to be true to these characters as I'm writing. And I really don't preordain how these things are going to end. I know my setup. I know generally who the opposition is, who the demon he's going to confront. But then things start to unravel. The end of the books I don't plot out. I plot out everything else.
Yeah.
So
that's as it should be. It's because you want the dominoes to fall.
Right.
So you set up all the dominoes, and then
you don't want to make the audience think you're forcing something.
Act 3 has to be a natural extension.
Yeah. So here, and look, it takes you a little time to work out Act 3 because you want the character to go one way and he wants to go there. So it ends up being a piece about strength and power, and there's nothing wrong with it. But it's about what it's serving. Are you serving yourself, or are you serving the people around you and something larger than yourself?
Right.
That's what Will's ultimately confronted with. It's not about the power.
Right.
The power is to serve an end. That's what he learns. And ultimately, that's what Samson learned.
Absolutely.
In the original story.
Absolutely.
So there are shades of that. And I like weaving in historical reality, historical places and objects. I think it opens kids' minds up to our culture, our Western heritage. In this case, we've got the helmet of Joan of Arc. You've got the locks of Samson. Now, I don't think anybody claims to have the locks of Samson, but maybe it's at my house.
They're somewhere.
I'm sure they're somewhere. Somebody clipped them and took them. And there are many other belts from a cincture from a saint, the relics of the wise men. All these things creep in. You can actually find most of those relics and objects in museums or churches or libraries around the world. And I love that idea that you're taking something real and taking something imaginary and you blow it up and make people look at it in a new way. Because then these things don't become cold relics of the past, but things that drive us into the future with lessons that we can learn and have to learn from them.
In book 3, you've definitely landed more in the superhero genre.
Yeah.
Where the first 2 books, the relics feel, the staff of Moses.
Yeah.
They're a little more external.
Right.
It's a thing. It's the tesseract, right?
Right.
It's the thing you found that's outside of you that has power. But in this case, Will experiences the transformation into a Samson-like character.
Yeah.
Samson was the origin, inspirationally, of most of the superheroes that we have now. Most people don't know that, but the Book of Judges and Samson gave those young Jewish boys in Brooklyn the inspiration to come up with these things. Yeah,
that's right.
To come up with these first comic book heroes. How aware of that were you? How conscious were you of the superhero themes?
I didn't feel it until I was halfway through the book. I kind of stumbled into it, but I knew exactly what you're sharing with people, that Samson was the model for Shazam and Superman and all these brawny superheroes that came and saved the day with their strength. And so as I wrote this, I was conscious of, well, what does that mean today for our boys, for our girls, for us as parents? And I don't want to ruin it, but Will Wilder's father also transforms in this book in a different way. Some have rapped me because in the past he was kind of a weak sister, always kind of tamping down, trying to keep Will from doing what he's called to do. But that's just dramatizing, I think, what we do consciously or unconsciously with our kids. We've learned the hard way about certain professions or certain paths in life, and we try to direct them and keep them to a path and keep them on that. This is the safe way for you, son. This is what you should be doing. In some ways, we're all Dan Wilder, that part of him. Well, now you get to see the fully evolved Dan Wilder in the raw in this book.
Papa Bear.
Papa Bear. He returns to, I think, who he was, and his son and his family helped get him there.
He lives up to his last name.
Yeah, he does. They all do. Yeah. You know where Wilder comes from? I didn't know this.
I don't.
When I was looking for a name for the characters, a Wilder is actually a profession. It is one who kills or traps wild creatures or animals. And I thought, that's the perfect name for this family.
That works.
It does.
That works fantastically. So for people who haven't read the series at all, there's 3 books now.
There are.
Tell us the origin story of Perilous Falls and Peniel.
Yeah.
This great grandfather, Jacob Wilder.
Yeah.
Give us the origin for this whole
what I
thing.
love about the story, you can come to any of these books. They are self-contained adventures. I think you get a richer experience if you read them through, but you really can drop in on any one of them. And I kind of give you the backstory, as you know, writing a series. You want to give people the backstory so they can enter into the tale and feel they understand everything. Will Wilder is a 12-year-old boy with a supernatural gift. He, on his 12th birthday, begins to see shadows that quickly take shape. And in short order, he realizes he can see demons. No one else can see them. And indeed, we find out his family has been waiting generations for a firstborn Wilder who could see, a seer. Because he discovers, and I'm ruining a little bit book one for you, but not really, his family is part of an underground community that has been battling these dark forces and these demons for centuries. There's flashbacks to his great-grandfather, Jacob Wilder. We find out about his adventures during the war and how they reflect into the present. And many times the relics or the artifacts that Will encounters in the present in Perilous Falls, we discover at the top of each book how Jacob Wilder came in contact with that relic or fought off some horror to get it. He has a museum, Jacob Wilder, that he created in the middle of Perilous Falls, Peniel, which is it's a reliquarium. It's referred to as the museum in town, but it actually contains some of the most precious artifacts of history and of all time. The question is, and I haven't answered this, and I won't for several books, why did he feel he had to collect all these relics here? Why are they here? Why are they so precious? And why is this town of Perilous Falls under such scrutiny and attack all the time? I will answer it, but I can't.
Good. Character of Cammie she's such a great character.
Cammie Merriweather.
And she's such an important character.
Yeah.
And she's that girl who's not impressed with the guy who's very impressive.
Right.
So that protagonist who's very impressive to readers has a friend who's really likes him, but it's like,
Yeah.
You know, he's got all these weaknesses.
Yeah.
She has a bigger role in this third book.
She does. Cammie Merriweather, and part of that was conscious because I have so many girl readers, and I wanted them to feel they're part of the adventure too, and they love Will. They go, you know, the thing about Will is, you know, the girls, you know, love him, and the boys want to be him. So there's a nice, you know, balance there.
It works.
But Cammie and Aunt Lucille have really, they sort of come to the fore in this book. Cammie is that, you know, kind of headstrong, smart, sees through everything going on, best friend we all had or wish we had.
Right.
And I had friends in grammar school, in high school like this, who were just those formative girls who would say, "What are you doing?
Slow your roll.
Slow your roll, man. Wait a minute. You don't realize what's happening here?" And Cammie is that voice of reason, but I do like in this adventure, she jumps in and kind of utilizes one of these relics as well, and has her own role in the drama that I didn't plan at all. That just kind of happened as I was writing.
So accentuating her character in book 3 was in part for your readers, but also she just did what she does in the story, which is she kind of grabs the wheel.
She took over.
She grabs the wheel and she does a little steering.
She took over. Well, Cammie took over. She's a fun character.
She's great.
Cammie's fun. She's kind of wry. You know,
she's way more hard-bitten.
Right.
You know, but not in a bad way.
No,
she's just very perceptive, pushes your bruise.
Yeah,
I see exactly what you're doing with your ego.
And she's got her brother at home, who, you know, he's a special needs kid. She helps him. You know, she's not, she's a helper. Cammie wants to help people.
Right.
And here she also, you realize the kind of heroine side of her, that she's called to her own battle here, and she's not afraid to mix it up and get her hands dirty, and to call Will out when he's in the wrong.
There's a theme of seductive entertainment in book 3 as well.
Oh, yes.
The theme that comes through with the DJ Cassius.
Yeah.
And this seductive music, the seductive music that takes over and sweeps people literally off their feet.
Right.
What are you getting at, if anything, there? Is there something thematically you'd like to unpack there a little bit for us?
In this story, you have a very charismatic DJ that comes to town with his own groove and mixes, and everybody in town is captivated by him. And his music has a particular effect on people that I won't ruin. But there is something, I think, about the loneliness of our age that I believe finds its way through delivery of media. And when I walk in most cities, except my beloved hometown of New Orleans, where we all jam and party together and dance to the same beat, you go to most places and everybody's got their buds in their ears. They're on their own little screen in their own little world, and they might be laughing and engaged, but it's just them and the screen, or them in their own little groove. And that's kind of what happens in Perilous Falls in this book. You see the individual, the crushing loneliness of technology and the effect it has on people. And I've dramatized that and made it move for my storyline to work, but there is something in there. There's a little bit of a social observation, I guess.
As far as this construction goes, you say there's more books coming.
Yeah.
How far apart were these books? So the first one released when?
First one released in 2016?
16,
I think.
So you've kept a pretty good pace.
Yeah, but there was a 2-year lap in between, a 2-year lag between book 2 and book 3, and that was because I was covering the Trump administration, and I had Perilous Falls at every moment around me.
You were living in Perilous Falls.
I was living in Perilous Falls.
So you expect us to see more installments over the next couple of years?
They're coming in the next few years.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll take time.
Great job. Congratulations.
Nate, thank you so much.
Let's get this up.
Will Wilder 3.
Amulet of Power,
everywhere.
February 19th.
February 19th.
Everywhere, February 19th.
Thank you, Nate. It's
Read
been
it.
An honor.
I'm going to finish it tonight.
All right. Great. Thank you so much. Great being with you. Will Wilder 3, The Amulet of Power, releases February 19th. Oh, what an adventure awaits you. You can still pre-order the book at EWTN's Religious Catalog, Amazon. I have all of the outlets aggregated at willwilderbooks.com. Now, for those of you in California, I will be at the Reagan Library for a major signing event and talk on Friday, February 22nd. I hope you'll come out. All the details will be at raymondarroyo.com. Also, the day before that, I'll be in Bryant, Texas on Thursday at a gala for 40 Days for Life. I hope you'll come out. I'm signing at both events. We'll have a grand time. I'll be announcing upcoming events in the days ahead.